All right, everybody. I am a rocker at heart, so I'm excited about this. New wave rock singer, Ciel. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Like I was telling you off air, I am a fan of rock music, so your your discography is right down that alley. So thank you for doing this.
Awesome. I'm excited to do it.
Yeah, so let's get into it. When did you first start picking up music? Like, do you remember the first time you were in like your first music class, or do you remember like when you started like really like getting into it?
Getting into it. Well, I mean, I grew up. My father was a bassist in a band, and most of the time he didn't have a babysitter, so I just went with him to shows. So I was exposed to that environment pretty early in life. But I didn't actually start doing anything too seriously until about 2018. I did some music for a little while in the late 90s, early 2000, but it was a very short-lived period, so I don't really count that. But I started doing things more seriously around 2018.
Seriously, as in like getting into a studio and a recording, singles. What was like your first what was your first single? Like when did that release?
My first single was released 2018.
Okay.
Um, and it was called, I think this one was called English Boys or Unnatural Worlds.
Hmm.
Um, I released two singles then. So one of them was called Unnatural World, a kind of science fiction-y gothic rock song about digital technology and how the digital era has affected us and, that sort of a thing.
Well, you probably remember, LimeWire and stuff, when people would like just burn CDs. You showed me your CD earlier. We're gonna get into that song,
Yeah. Yeah, I
but
remember that.
you remember the LimeWire days?
I mean, is that the name? I'm not familiar with that name,
So
but is that for
LimeWire was basically people that would illegally basically rip CDs, illegally stream MP3 files. And it was a free
okay,
for all. It was like it was an open market for songs.
like a bootleg kind of
Yeah,
thing?
essentially
Okay.
bootleg. And
All right. Where are you from? What
so
state are you
I'm
from?
from Pensacola, Florida, which is right by, oh, here's my cat eye. So no, I'm from Pensacola, Florida, which is right on the border of Alabama, like probably an hour from Mobile, 2 hours from New Orleans. But I'm originally from Orlando, you know. So I grew up on bands
Yeah.
like Disturbed, Stain, Seether. I mean, I can go on, but it's not about me, but since you asked where I'm from,
Yeah, I was curious. Yeah, that's super cool. Florida and Alabama. I mean, me coming from New York City, like any other
this is a
state.
cool mesh of geography class.
Yeah, right?
You ever been to Florida?
No, no, I haven't really been to too many states.
So where do you play at around New York? Like, you said not too many states, so do you go to like New Jersey? Do you like New England area?
I have played shows in New York City, and
Okay, mainly.
yeah.
So that's a whole genre in itself, right? It's gotta be crazy, like all these um artists. Talk about like the local scene there. Can you paint a picture a little
The
bit, like what
local.
it's like?
Yeah, sure, sure. Well, first of all, I haven't done too many shows.
Oh,
Because like I said, I sort of started doing music again around 2018. So most of that time period was spent writing and getting the album recorded. And then finally, when I did release the album, it was actually released the end of 2018. So pretty much it was 2019 that I'd had to promote it, which was not very long because the very next year was the lockdown and the pandemic. So the whole music thing just came to a halt after that. And then, I didn't release anything again until 2023 because after the pandemic and the lockdown, I I was feeling, I wasn't really feeling like I wanted to do music. It was such a strange time. And it took a while for me to process, but then eventually, I just, kept thinking, I've got to do music because I kept hearing this nagging voice inside of me that was
Mhm.
like, you're gonna always be unhappy unless you finally do music and just, commit to it.
Yeah,
So I did. I have decided that, no matter what, well, actually, I had made a little plan. I had decided that I would give myself a sort of a deadline, like do music for about, I think it was maybe 1 or 3 months, the deadline. And I told myself I would make a decision afterwards if I was going to keep on or not. So I just decided to keep on going.
so that's awesome, and that's kind of like determination, and you know what I'm saying? Like, sounds corny, but like a lot of the people that are succeeding right now in the music industry are ones that just simply will not say no. You know what I mean? And like, what kind of do you play at bars? Do you play at open mics? Like, what kind of venues are we talking about here?
I Venues are kind of like, in my opinion, they're all kind of the same. They have a bar and then they have a separate room where bands play, and it's pretty much the same thing. Usually like around 5 bands playing back to back. And the venues really just want to sell drinks. And so I haven't played anywhere
I mean,
bigger
yeah.
than
You're
Mercury
not
Lounge.
wrong. You're not wrong. It's all about tips as well, but um
Tips, yeah.
yeah. Um not that I would know anything about that, but anyways, what's the longest set that you've played? Like I know you said you just recently kind of, getting out
Mhm,
there in New York, but
mhm.
what's the longest set?
I think the longest set I played was an hour. But generally, in New York City, well, Manhattan anyway, they have this rule that bands have to be done with their set like after 45 minutes.
Really?
So yes, yes, New York is Manhattan
Hold
is a
on.
little bit strict when it comes to shows. You have
Yeah,
to bring a
hold
lot of
on, hold on.
people. They don't
Hold
sell
on. That
drinks.
intrigues me. That intrigues me. Is there a reason? Like,
I'm not really too sure what their reason is, but in
wow.
general, I don't think musicians are treated very nice these days. We have 45 minutes on stage in Manhattan. We get a fraction of a penny for every stream. This is, not a very good time for
Mhm.
musicians. The only way we can make money is to sell merchandise and to play shows.
Yeah, and also reels and streams and stuff, right? You get into the stream.
The
Um,
streams, yeah, well, the streams don't pay very much. They pay like a fraction of a penny.
yeah,
Um, every place is different. YouTube, Spotify, they all have a slightly different price, but it's all pretty much the same, a fraction of a penny
that's wild.
per
What's
stream.
what's the most you've had like success? Are you really big into like Spotify? Is that where you?
Well, it depends what you define as success.
Okay, so so basically a platform that you feel suits you. Like let's say the one that's on like your like links. You have links, right? So what's
Yes, I
ones
have.
that's been the best like profit to you? Like like you said, they're all the same, but is there one that kind of like sticks out? Like you always tell people, like, hey, check out my music on like Spotify or Apple. Is it usually those two or?
I usually advertise all of them together. Well, not advertise, but I
I know what
usually
you
just
mean.
when I post on social media, I usually just put a list of the most popular ones like Spotify,
Um,
YouTube, Apple, iHeart, Pandora,
yeah, can't forget
and yeah.
iHeartRadio. Can't forget that. I like
No,
Pandora. I feel
no,
like Pandora is underrated, but that's a hot take. Uh,
underrated.
yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
underrated. I think it's underrated. Most people are like podcast. They were getting into podcasts too, but like most people are like into Spotify and stuff. But I feel like Pandora's underrated. But that's just my opinion. You know, who am I, right? I mean, I'm just a podcast host. But anyways, let's talk about some of the songs. Self Control. That was an awesome song when I checked it out. What's the story behind that song? Is there
Um, Self Control is a song that Laura Branigan popularized in the 80s. It was originally written by Rap,
really?
I think an Italian artist in Europe. And but it was Laura Branigan who covered it and made it well known, and she had success with the song. And so what I had wanted to do an 80s cover. So I went on to Facebook and I asked the public, what 80s song should I cover? And I had this enormous response. And of course, there was like a lot of song titles I'd never heard of, even though I pretty much know a lot about 80s music. But somebody had suggested Self Control, and I don't know, it just touched something inside. I was like thinking, yeah, I remember that song. That song was, and I went to go hear it again because it had been a while, and I was like, yeah, this is a really cool song. I think I could sing to this. And when
Yeah.
I told my producer, and I was thinking we would do like a rock version of it, but to my surprise, my producer created this really beautiful electronic ambient version of it. And he wanted
Oh,
me to sing kind of breathy and ethereal. So we went in that direction artistically. And I would say that's actually my most played song right now, the cover song. Um,
uh-huh.
that one
I
has
like it.
had
It's cool.
a lot of plays on YouTube. YouTube, it gets used on TikTok. People are having fun with it on TikTok.
Do you ever get people like try like um refer you like 90s stuff? Like, hey, try this
90s?
90s song, like
No.
Nirvana. You ever get into
No.
Nirvana, or you've heard of Nirvana, right? Obviously.
Yes, of course.
But you ever
Yes.
get like, yeah, people like covers like recent covers too, or like recent songs to cover, or is it mostly like 80s stuff?
I've only actually done two covers. All my stuff is original,
Okay.
but I try to make my music, singing,
Mhm.
lyrics, just style, overall style in general. I try to make it sound
Mhm.
80s new wave, post-punk kind of thing. It does
Yeah.
fall into punk pop category as well.
Right. Okay.
Um,
Yeah. So Gwen
yeah,
Stefani and
yeah, like Gwen Stefani,
Haley
sure.
Williams. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I told you off air that I interviewed some people that have been on competition shows. Would that interest you?
Being on a competition to
Yeah,
do
so The
what?
Voice or American Idol or anything like that with America's Got Talent. Would you be interested in something
Mm,
like going on in one of
Um,
those shows?
I don't think I would be the right candidate for something like American Idol. I think they're looking for people who sing more commercial, you know, have more commercial appeal, who have more pop vocals. You know, I'm more like a little bit.
So it's not your
I'd
speed, is
rather
what you're
do that.
saying. It's not your
There's
speed.
profanity in my lyrics as
Oh
well
no,
too.
hey, this is
So.
feel free to let the language fly in this podcast. There's no guidelines here. Um
Okay.
Yeah. So, who do you like? Who's your inspirations? Like, was there somebody growing up that you were like, I want to, I know it's like a stereotypical question, but do you have someone that you're like, oh, I wanted to be like them or I want to be like them?
I wanted, wow, let's see, inspirations. Well, I've listened to all different kinds of music. I have listened to, so it's kind of hard to say because when I was younger, I liked bands like the Eagles, for crying out loud. I'm nothing like that, but I also listened to a lot of 80s like Prince, Madonna, Thompson Twins, Duran Duran, Ultravox, Human League, Tears for
Wow.
Fears, that sort of thing. And also really like The Clash and Billy Idol.
Mhm.
So I would say like the bands that have inspired me, I don't necessarily sound like these artists, but I can say that I really like Billy Idol, The Clash. I like a New York band called The Strokes. I love Duran Duran. I also really liked Morrissey a lot growing up.
Mm,
His music was kind of innocent, and that really appeals to me, probably because I was younger.
right.
I thought he was a very good influence, though. You know, he promoted a lot of good things, like being a vegetarian and being celibate, and he sang a lot about literature. So he was one of my influences. Yeah.
That's awesome. For maybe the first ever Duran Duran mention on this podcast. What is it about Duran Duran that you like so much?
I really like about Duran Duran. It took me a while to like them. I didn't actually get into them. I liked their songs, you know, their 80s hits when I was
Sure.
growing up. Um, but I didn't really I was younger then, and I was too young to sort of understand that sort of, you know, sexy rock, I guess you could say. I really don't know how to describe it. But what I like about them is that they had everything that an ideal band should have. They had a friendship. They were dedicated. They worked really hard, and they also put a lot of time and work into their image. They danced on stage. And they did everything that, you know, bands should do: be friends, write together, stick together, work on your image, because image is definitely an important part of being an artist. In fact, during the 90s, I was really disappointed because a lot of these bands were coming onto stage with just greasy, oily hair and a
Right.
t-shirt, jeans, and I just thought I was really sad. You know, I wanted them to dress up like how people did. And I had friends at the time who were really into gothic and industrial bands, and they were actually the ones who taught me um, that it's really important to dress up before doing shows. So that's something I always thought was very important.
Yeah. Did you ever read the novel The Outsiders?
I didn't read the novel,
Or
but
you
I
read
saw the
the
movie.
you
Saw
s-
the movie.
you saw the movie. So is that kind of what you're talking about? The hair, life greaser kind of lifestyle?
Oh no, I mean like in the 80s, they had their hair just so cooped
Oh,
up,
you
dyed
mean like
different colors, you know.
like Tom Petty and who
No,
no
Tom Petty was more rock. I mean
I
like new wave post punk artists, you
yeah.
know.
Give me some examples.
Oh, the singer from Thompson Twins, he had like some red in his hair or something
Yeah.
like
Oh,
that.
okay. Okay, I know what you're talking
And how
about.
about
Yeah.
Cyndi Lauper? She did all sorts of
Cyndi
colors.
Lauper's like a legend. Yeah.
Yeah,
Of course.
yeah, yeah. So, you know, I Blondie, she had a lot of different
Yeah.
styles and colors, and that really appealed to me. So,
Yeah.
same thing with the guys from Duran Duran. They had a lot of cool hairstyles and changed colors. So all of that appeals to me.
Lady Gaga. I mean, that's more recent, but she does some crazy stuff, right?
Yeah, she's great. She's great. I love how she's always changing her image and she comes out with these new fashions and styles. You know, she's really killing it.
Was she the
So yeah,
one?
I like her a lot.
What was the one where somebody had like livestock as their gown was like made out of like I forgot what it was. I should have Googled it before I asked, but like meat or something as like an outfit. There's been some crazy
Mm.
outfits like over the years. I gotta Google that. But
If
anyways,
you're talking about the time when Lady Gaga
I forgot what it
had
was.
she had meat all over her body,
Yeah,
and it was a statement. It was a statement. She was saying that she didn't want I think I don't remember, you know, exactly. Something about she didn't want, you know, people looking at women as meat, something like that, something
yeah,
along those lines.
right, right.
So, you know, I think her actions probably offended a lot of vegetarians
That's
and vegans at the time. But, you know, I guess if you're not a vegetarian, doing something like that, making that sort of a statement, going to that extreme,
Mhm.
you know, I guess you don't really think about it twice. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's why she did that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, what other songs have you put out recently? I know we talked about self-control, so I see also you did Give Us Faith. Can you talk about that? Can you talk about that song?
Yes, Give Us Faith was recently put out. I think that was put out, what, a month ago? I should know
It
the
was
date.
it looked it when I what I saw was February, but that's just what I saw on like Apple. But yeah, so the song seems to have like a deep meaning, you know.
Yes.
Is that kind of what you were going for, like a thoughtful song?
Yeah, I was going for, I wanted to share with people an experience that I had personally, being on the fence about believing in a God, the
Mhm.
existence of a God. And I'm pretty sure that everyone at some point in their life has wondered, if there's really a God. Or I'm sure, a lot of people don't believe, but at some point they ask themselves this privately, even. So anyway, my belief in a God was kind of on the fence, off and on. Sometimes I believed, sometimes I didn't believe, and this was the pattern for much of my life. So I just decided to write a song about it. And in the lyrics, I explain, the things that I go through. Like the opening of the song is about, me saying, I need to know, well, how does that, I forgot my own lyrics. I need to know if what they're saying about you is true. So I'm asking you. So this means I'm asking God when I say I'm asking you. So one of the things I did was, instead of wondering if there's a God and trying to research it, turn to science for answers, I decided to just pray, to just ask this supernatural being, "Are you there?" I asked, and I didn't receive an answer right away. And the thing is that I wanted to believe there was a God. So I found myself praying, even though I wasn't sure if anyone was listening. And I found myself asking God to give me faith. Because I wanted to believe, even though I couldn't believe completely, I wanted to believe that there was a God. So I kept praying to him and saying, "Can you give me faith?" And I kept praying over and over. And so yeah, the lyrics just pretty much reflect what I was going through. Um, Also during the second verse, when I mention I something about I look out into the black sky. If you're out there, give me a sign. That was about I took an astronomy course in school a long time ago, and they wrote out God. He was written out of their theory. And I walked home that day so heartbroken. I looked up at the sky and I was just so heartbroken that there was no God, according to my astronomy course and the textbooks. So you know in the song I mentioned that moment that I looked up at the sky and it was so dark, and I just felt so hopeless and heartbroken. So yeah, the song is pretty much for everyone who's on the fence about it, and I'm just sharing my experience. So yes, it is a very deep song.
Yeah, and I'm
And
sure
also, yeah,
no,
also
go ahead.
vocally, I love it vocally because it's a great showcase of my voice. It shows like the diversity of my voice, the different things that I can do. So and I would say my influences, vocal influences in that song were more along the lines of Freddie Mercury, say, or Bono from U2.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, I mean, I don't sound like them, of course.
No, but everyone knows Beautiful Day. I mean, you know. Of course, you too. Legends in their own right. Um,
Yes. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I think I was drawing my inspiration from their first 5 albums, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about this you said you have a new single that just released. Talk about that. Show the CD and where can people get it and the whole 9 there.
The whole 9, I haven't heard that expression in a
Yeah.
while.
You haven't heard the whole 9? Yeah,
I
what
mean, I
is it?
haven't heard it in a while.
Well, I'm glad to
Yeah.
bring it back, and it shows my
Yeah,
age.
yeah,
That
yeah,
yeah.
the whole 9 yards, right? Was that the
Yeah.
full expression? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, well, last year I released 2 singles. One was called We Lost Everything and the other High Alert. So this year I released another single, Son of a Gun, which was actually mixed by Steve Lillywhite. So I'm very proud of that. And then I released Give Us Faith afterwards. But basically the CD release is I took 3 singles. I took We Lost Everything, High Alert, and Son of a Gun, and I put them together on one CD. And
Hey,
here it is. I don't know if you could.
we lost everything, which losing everything is not a good thing. But in this case, everyone should check it out.
Yeah. I mean, I have been selling CDs, and right now I have put the link in my Instagram profile.
Okay.
Yeah,
What's the Instagram handle?
my Instagram is very simple. It's just at Ciel Gloss. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you
but
can't get more
I
simple than that.
well, the link leads to my website.
Got it.
So I just mentioned, during Instagram posts, or I
Got it.
just mentioned that people can buy the physical CD by clicking on the link in my Instagram bio or going directly to my website, which is www.sealgloss.com.
This is
Yeah, and I
refreshing.
designed the artwork myself. We
You know
love the
what?
circles. Put the
You know what's
song titles in a circle.
Yeah, yeah, this is awesome. Hey, yeah, I like that. So this is very refreshing because we live in an age where of, QR codes, um, check out, you can stream it on this, which is nothing wrong. I don't want to come across as like I'm an old millennial, which I am an old millennial, but I don't want to come across as like back in my day and like, but it's refreshing to see somebody in 2024 still selling CDs. So I appreciate that. Keeping it
Well, the
alive.
reason I'm selling CDs is because first I just released the stuff. I had my aggregator, CD Baby, release everything.
Got it.
And
Yeah.
people were messaging me and asking me for CDs. And I
That's
was like,
awesome.
do people actually still
Yeah,
have
that's what I'm
CD
saying.
players?
It's refreshing, Ciel. It's refreshing.
So after a significant number of requests for this, I decided, okay, let me put these on CD then. So I did, and started making sales. So far, I've sold CDs in America, Canada, Ireland, and England.
And you're on a podcast based in Florida. So you're getting around you're getting around there. Um that's awesome. So about the CD in itself, it's also available streaming, obviously, right? Anywhere,
Yes,
Pandora,
yes,
the list goes on.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Everything, all of my songs are available to stream
Mm.
or on all major digital platforms like Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Deezer, KKBox. I don't know the names of them, but my distributor
Right,
just
right.
puts
Of
it all
course,
out
of
there.
course.
But
I'm not
yeah,
gonna
people
have you
can
I'm not
purchase it
gonna
if
have
they
you
want.
pick a I'm not gonna have you pick sorry, I'm not gonna have you pick a best of the 3, but what's one that you've heard like the most you most like interesting responses to? Like whether good, you know what I'm saying? Like ones where it's like that one's really awesome. Like the one that you're like I wouldn't say proud of, but ones that you've heard good feedback from or is it all of them?
I mean, I'm not sure about how to get feedback from these streaming platforms, but
True.
what my opinion is that everyone is all about Spotify. So the only thing I can see on Spotify is how many streams I got or how many followers or monthly listeners.
Mm,
And so now there are artists out there who have thousands of followers and streams, millions, whatever. But so to my understanding, you have to be on a lot of playlists,
right.
and a lot of artists a lot of musicians are focusing on being on playlists, which I guess that's how the game is these days. I don't really know how to do that, so whatever's there is just there. So
Yeah, I understand that.
organic.
Yeah, I hear that independent artists. That's what this show. That's what I like to do on this
I
show. Is
mean, quite frankly, I don't feel like playing that game,
right. I
of
understand that. That's why.
playing
That's.
Spotify's game of being on their playlist, and
Mhm.
I don't feel like catering to that. It's a lot of work, and I just want to concentrate on writing songs, and um I can promote them myself to the public. And but yeah, but personally, I like Amazon. I listen to
Amazon
music.
Music. All right. Yeah, actually,
Yeah,
I don't mind. I don't have it myself. I have. Actually, I don't have any right now, but I did have Pandora for a while. And but yeah, I've heard good things about Amazon. Why do you like Amazon Music? Is it just the layout and stuff?
I actually find the volume to be louder when I go
Really?
back and forth listening to music on Spotify and then
All
flipping
right,
over to
everybody.
Amazon.
Volume is where it's at on
Volume.
Amazon. Rock out.
Yeah, it's all about the volume.
For rock music, yeah, even new wave, you know. I hear you.
Right,
You have a cool story. The New York scene must be wild. You have a cool story about
a
the
cool
scene?
story.
Yeah, anything. It could be about anything. Take it where you wanna, whether
Yeah,
it's like a
I'm
crowd
I'm
you played
trying to think.
for or any night out, like playing or anything.
Mm, I don't know about a cool story. I once played at a place called Meow Mix where it was all
Okay.
lesbians, and that was super
No,
cool.
that counts. That counts. Talk about that place. That
Yeah,
that
it
place.
was awesome. It was like, well, at the time, the bassist in my band was a lesbian, so she's like, "We gotta
Oh,
play, Meow Mix," and I was like, "Okay." And it was really cool. It was like there was all these women there
of
and
course.
young girls and women, and I don't know. It's just like this is cool.
Yeah, girl power, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. That's awesome. That's awesome. So how busy is your schedule? Do you have like a crazy schedule or do you just pick and choose times?
I think I just pick and choose. It's hard for me to commit to a schedule. Um, but what I mainly because of my work. But
Right.
I am constantly busy because I regard myself as a one person record company. I have to do everything by myself. I have to um I've got to practice the songs. I've got to find rehearsal space. I've got to hire session musicians when I'm ready to do shows. I've got to promote my own music. I have to post on social media. I have CDs pressed. So working and right now I'm currently working on putting out my first music videos ever because
Hey, look forward to that.
yeah, so that's a lot of work and so I'm constantly busy. There's just so much work to do and it's really exhausting, but I
Which is
love music so
yeah.
much and I really put all of my heart and soul into it.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna put you on the hot seat, all right?
On the what?
On the hot seat, like I have a like a question that's gonna make you think.
Oh boy. Let's hear it.
Who do you think is who's your greatest rock star? Like one that like who do you think's like, you know what I'm saying? Like who's your like
Like what in terms of
rock music? Like rock
performance
music.
or in
Yeah,
talent?
exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, let's think about that. Because obviously there are a bunch of pioneers out
It can
there.
be your favorite. It can be you can take it any way you want.
Okay, well, I think I would be an idiot if I didn't say the Beatles. So I'm gonna have to say the Beatles. They are the greatest bands. Um, and I think I researched this recently. They're actually still um the highest selling band still. Yeah, so, but I mean, when it comes to like sort of rock pioneers who I think are great, probably artists that I don't really listen to too much, like Mick Jagger, for example.
Of course.
I regard him as a rock pioneer. My mom was a huge fan, so I grew up hearing Mick Jagger. I think I know all the words to all their songs, but because of my mom. I think Freddie Mercury was extremely talented. Michael Jackson.
I mean, yeah, of
Um,
course. Of course, Michael
yeah.
Jackson. God rest
I
his
loved
soul,
his
you know.
dancing. That's what made him so cool. His
Jackson
dancing.
5 as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jackson 5. Mm-hmm.
that's a throwback. Um, yeah, I would agree. The Beatles, yeah. I mean, that you could go. The list is like long. I got into night. I know you're like, 80s and stuff, but like, Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah,
Um,
I like 90s music as well. I love Smashing Pumpkins. They're great.
I wouldn't say the greatest of all time, but like they deserve to be an honorable mention.
Sure, absolutely. They had a lot of melodic songs and the guys sung with a lot of passion. And, that's actually lacking
Yeah,
in music
Billy
the past
Billy
20 years, I
Corgan, I
find.
think his name is.
Billy Corgan?
I
Is it
think that's Smashing Pumpkins. I'm pretty sure.
Billy Corgan? Something like
I
that.
think it's hold on. This I can edit this out, but I think it's lead singer of Smash. And people listening to this are gonna be like, "Of course you're right, man!" Like idiot.
Well, his name is Billy. Billy Corgan or Cork, something like that.
No, I got yeah, you're right, but I
Yeah, of
mean,
course I'm right. I'm
it
from
is
New
Billy
York. Of
Corgan.
course
I
I'm right.
gotta, you know what? You gotta go with this is an education to all the kids out here. Always go with your first answer. Because if you switch, you're gonna get it wrong. In like a
Okay.
test or anything.
Yeah. So go with that instinct, right? That gut feeling, that
Yeah, and like
answer.
when I was in college, if I didn't know it, the answer was always C. So, I learned that way too. This has been awesome. Time's flown by. Any promote the CD. So what's it called? It is called.
Well, it's actually called look for the EP version
Oh,
because
okay.
yeah, it should say EP version on top. And that's the one that has the three songs on the back.
Word.
People can order it directly from my website, cielgloss.com, or Instagram. I have a link in my bio. And that's actually where I do most of my blabbing is on Instagram. So
I hear you.
people can
For
hit me up there.
those, yeah, for those listening to the audio version, Ciel is holding up the CD, which you should go purchase.
Yes, here it is. For
Right
the 100th
now.
time.
Purchase it. Where else on social media is it? Are you mostly Instagram?
I am on Facebook as well and on Twitter, but I find I'm not on TikTok, but I'm working on that. I'm on YouTube as well, but I don't actually post anything on YouTube. And my bad. I have to. It's like I said before, it's a lot of work. I'm doing all this stuff, but I do spend a lot of time posting on Instagram, and more so recently, I connected the two so that it would cross post over to Facebook. But I would say most of my followers are on Instagram, and I'm feeling the love there
I
as
get that.
opposed to the other side.
I get that. Well,
Yeah.
great music and thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, my
Everybody
pleasure.
should check your CD out. Where do you playing next? Do you have a show lined up?
I don't have a show lined up because I promised myself that I was going to complete my 3 music videos before doing my next show. So,
Wow.
and I'm on the verge of, I've got a video coming out to We Lost Everything, Son of a Gun, and what's the other one? I can't recall the third one right now. I think the third one has some issues, but definitely Son of a Gun and We Lost Everything.
Gotcha.
So that will
Gotcha.
be coming out very soon,
All
hopefully
right.
any day.
Yeah. I'll check it out, as should the listeners. Ciel, thank you again. And this was awesome. Appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. I had a great time. Great chat.
Yep. Yep. Take care, okay?
Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.